And a very fine evening unto you and all that you hold dear. It's me, I'm back in the chair again, Eno M Koney, and joined by the congregation, that is TF2 Real Gamer 2022, in the chat. Obviously anyone else is welcome to join the congregation, but he has a pink diamond, or they have a pink diamond to indicate that they are, in fact, the congregation. They've been here longer than you have, so just get over it. Yeah, okay, cool. I've just realised I've left the Google page open for how do you make someone a... Are we married? I think that the relationship between... Oh, for God's sake, on a crappy cracker. There we go. Twitch got very confused on my monitor screen. There is like, no, he's not here, but I am here. Are we married? No, because we have the relationship. I am the pontiff, and you are the congregation. And of course, in other religions, that would mean you had to sit down and shut up. Yeah. But in this scenario, what it means is that your job is to derail me and heckle me, such as throwing back at me a crappy cracker. Yeah, I did say that. I just wanted my monitor to be working, and it wasn't, because Twitch can't keep up with whether I'm on air or not on air or what it is. Whoa, I have a diamond. That's what I said. Enjoy your pink diamond. There it is. That means that you're a VIP on this channel. I think I get about 10 of those to hand out, and I think in the past I handed out maybe 3. Probably 4. But so I've got like 5 left, I think. I don't know how to even check who's a VIP on my channel. I'm not really one for the Twitch commands. But here we are, just so that you're aware, if you are watching this asynchronously or if you're watching it now and I just don't know about you, we will go into this room. Say this is the Discordian service for the 25th of April, 1 of 2 in the season of Discord, ADN 2025, and the service is indeed starting soon. It's starting now, but we will of course start with the disclaimer. This is this week's disclaimer. It's a banana with Fnord written on it. Also, hello, yes. Hail, and hail to Eris, and hail to the banana that says Fnord. Just for the clarification at this point in the service, 23's taking the week off, and so is the goddess. I sat deep in contemplation when constructing the service this week, and honestly, although I now have a candidate for the face of Eris for next week, at the time that I put the service together, she just wasn't talking. So she's taken a week off, which she's allowed to do, as well as which is suitably chaotic, because of course we've had Easter. We're about to have in the UK and maybe like there heavy gaming. Heavy gaming. Fnord. I mean, I know who the heavy is, and I know which game you're talking about. I am actually going to talk about that a bit in the deep thoughts. So we're going to have deep thoughts. Kandar, I'm going to tell you from the hit game TF2. Yes, I'm aware. Heavy gaming. Yes, okay. I'm wondering. It's a little bit. It's like a wrestling thing. The whole Team Fortress 2. Theme of trying to distract me by talking about Team Fortress 2. It's like a sort of wrestling shtick. Yeah. So you can have a luchador mask with the heavy's face on it, so we don't know what your real face looks like and all that. It's it's a bit. The bit is that you think you've walked into a Team Fortress 2 stream, but you haven't. You've walked in here. And again, we're going to talk about that. We've got the tarot, though. We've obviously got the sacrament. It's here. So it's going to be your usual Friday night stuff with certain shenanigans in, certain shenanigans out. It has to be chaotic, of course, because this is, of course, a Discordian e-chapel. Part of the SWTP's scheme to take over the world. This is not usual. But not usualness is usual in the e-chapel. You see? Do you know what Slackware is? I've heard the term, but specifically no. Oh, this could be a great. I am afraid I have to be a commentator as well here. That is some good distraction, because now I want to know where you're going with this. The Linux OS. Ah, yeah, right. So no, isn't right. Am I correct in thinking that Slackware is a variation of Linux, much the same way as Mint or Debian or Ubuntu is, or am I off track with that? Is it just a piece of software that works in the Linux OS? What are we talking here? Is it like a Linux release? Am I correct in that? Oh, the tension. It's a distro, yeah. Yeah, okay, yes. Then I'm not personally familiar with that distro, as in having used it. I've used Ubuntu. I think I've used a bit of Debian. I once installed Mint on there. The old ones, yeah, no, that's where I will have heard of it. Yeah, definitely. I will have back in the mists of time. Not quite when Linux was new. I remember when Linux was new, a more developer-y friend than me at the time was getting very excited about it all. But then, of course, that's the joke, isn't it? Every year since then has been, this is the year of the Linux desktop. And people still get really enthusiastic about it. I'm going to tell you a little story now. You have actually managed to divert me. I had a Plex server running on Linux since 2020 because I was like, I've never had a Raspberry Pi, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to use Raspberry Pi and I'm going to put Plex on it and I'm going to run a Plex server, right? And I've been running it since 2025. But then, in the meanwhile, miniature Windows PCs have overtaken the Pi as being the thing for small hobby compute projects like that. So when I got a chance to upgrade, I now run a Windows Plex server. And honestly, it's like night and day because I use Windows machines for gaming and for work. And when I have all my things to put on the Plex server, I use sync thing to transfer it across to whichever. Worked interchangeably between Windows and Linux fine, but the thing is that all the file operations, I mean, you know, obviously it's a Linux and I should be using the command line, but I never did. I just used the GUI and it's terrible. It really, and it was so slow, I discovered as well. The Raspberry Pi might be the Pi's hardware is just struggling a bit against the new hardware, but yeah, everything's so much faster and easier to manage now that I have a miniature Windows PC. Never used the GUI. Well, I was literally just using it to copy paste sync thing synced for us. Only noobs use the GUI. Yeah, I've used the command line when I've actually needed to do something worthwhile, but literally all I'm doing is copying MKV files from folder to folder. And it was just, I wasn't in a particular hurry, but yeah, it is significant that. So what happens when the GUI stops working? What are you going to do then? Use the command line. I know how to use a command line. I've used the command line in service of work because I've had to do things other than copy paste files from one folder to another, but I didn't feel the particular need with my Raspberry Pi. In fact, my intended destination for the Raspberry Pi, when I've decommissioned the Plex version, the Plex server that's on there, is to turn it into maybe a Batacera rig. So then it's just going to run in console mode and it's going to run Batacera. So there we are. Right. So we go. Tech Corner here in the chapel this week. We're going to move on to Deep Thoughts. And the deep thought I have for you this week is the revelation of Saint Gafrik the Enjoyer. This is the first time a saint. I mean, to be fair, we've only been running this 3 seasons now, the Rando Saint. So it is to be expected when you create a vibe that eventually the vibe starts to resonate, yeah, and then you get something. That's the path of mysticism, right? So we have the ritual at the beginning of the season to decide when the Saint's Day is and who the single use saint will be, and I have said in the previous 2 occasions that the day after the Saint's Day we just forget all about them, which we kind of do. Saint Gafrik the Enjoyer has had their Saint's Day, and they will definitely never have a Saints Day again, but their revelation could live a bit longer, as long as I don't get too distracted during this next part. You see, I have a specific section for Kandar Q&A, but as the congregation knows, the congregation does not respect that, and indeed they shouldn't. Hail Eris. Me and some friends set up a local server where we can share game clips we made, the website and the back end from Scratch Without Hex OS, if you know what that is. I don't know what Hex OS is, so there we go. But good. Yeah, projects are good. Tech projects are good. It definitely extends your... it's a great way to extend your knowledge in a sort of hidden way, because it's a project, you want to get where you're going, but to get where you're going, you have to learn how to do the things that you're doing. It's a CMD, but with GUI. Okay, fair enough. Quite like a lot of other things. PowerShell, Hex OS. All right, cool. I always like hearing about new tech, looking at the new tech sort of specifications. Sorry, just moving my mic there. Hearing about the new tech specifications, and then being like, I'll use it if I ever have a cause to. And I'll tell you something, I've heard of and investigated a lot more tech things than I've ever gone, oh yeah, now I'm actually going to use this. I need some water. Cool. Right. But I am going to share the revelation of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer because I think it's worthwhile. Obviously, as we discussed, and in a vague way, the vibe of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer was that on the day of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer, which was yesterday, the 24th of April, as determined by the random roll, that people wishing to venerate St. Gafrik didn't have to do anything particular. St. Gafrik the Enjoyer, you were there, TF2 Real Game 2022, when we did season rollover. You were there, and you were equally confused then. I seem to remember that's the service where you said that despite the fact you'd been coming for like 3 or 4 months, on and off, not all the time, but suitably regularly, that, we've built up this. I was not. You were, because you said at that point, I don't think I'm even a Discordian really anyway. What is this all about? And that was the most hilarious thing, which I related this to my compadres. We have a parishioner turns up, not regularly but enough that they are now the congregation. That is their official title. They are there to keep me in check and to distract me and to cause confusion, which they do excellently. But then when it came to the point of saying, and of course as a Discordian, you're like, what even is Discordianism? I don't think I'm a Discordian, despite the fact that you're the one Discordian in the world that regularly turns up to a Discordian service. And I know that because I'm the only Discordian in the world running a Discordian service, and you're the only Discordian that actually turns up to it. So that's it. It's a unique thing that's going on here, and it's very precious. There are other Discordians, I can tell you for free, who enjoy this asynchronously. And if you are indeed one of those YouTube Discordians enjoying your little slice of Friday night right now, please like, subscribe, all that stuff, the YouTube stuff. Yeah, we're on Twitch right now. Right this instant, I'm live on Twitch. So that's all the Twitch stuff. But the YouTube stuff, that also counts. We are one in a Discordian. We are. It is true. But I have, when it was my very short birthday service that I had to do at 11 in the morning on a Friday. So it was on a Friday. So it counted. Somebody, a Discordian, wished me a merry birthday in the comments on the YouTube video. And I have 21 subscribers. 2 away, YouTube Discordians. 2 away from 23 subscribers. So I want 2 more YouTube subscribers. Now I want no more. Because honestly, 23 subscribers, thumbs aloft. That would just prove everything. The circle would be complete. 5 is the magic number. Excellent. So yeah, so there we go. So say less. Okay, great. So back to the revelation of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer. This is very much... There was a British comedian, and I'm having to explain this because there's nobody British and old in the chat like me or that I'm aware of anywhere near this whole mess up, called Frankie Howerd. And one of Frankie Howard's shticks was he was in a show, a sitcom in the 1970s in the UK called Up Pompeii, where he played a slave called Lurkio. And every show began with him emerging onto the set. Say, right, the prologue. And then basically he'd never get to the end of the prologue by the time the show had finished, because he kept getting interrupted with what the show was about. And so he'd always be trying to explain, the setup for the show. But the joke was that the show just happened while he was the prologue. He'd say it several times during the show. And when the congregation is in the house, it feels very much like I am Lurkio, constantly saying the prologue, or in this case, the revelation of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer. You have now 23 subscribers. Okay, cool, nice. Now I've got a dog trying to strangle himself with my joypad. Go away, or at least don't go away, but don't strangle yourself with my joypad, beast. So the revelation of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer, which is great for me and great for my 23 subscribers on YouTube. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, do not subscribe. I don't want to... Can I see the dog? Well, he's gone now. He just came. The thing about the dog is he's a beagle, and the minute he found out there was no food lying around on the floor, he left. And also that he'd got a wire tangled around him, both things that annoy him. Also, because he's a beagle, he's incredibly large, and so I don't think I could bring him into the sight of the camera. I'll try. Gatsby! Oh, he's gone for a nap. As soon as Gatsby is around, you can see the doggo. Everybody loves the doggo. There will be doggos, I promise, as soon as Gatsby is in the region. He's not... Most of our pets are quite camera shy. I've seen other channels, don't know what a beagle dog is. Beagle? Well, okay, so the most famous beagle in the world is Snoopy, but Snoopy doesn't really look like a beagle. Oh God, he's decided to bark at things outside. Real or imagined, I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so they're hunting dogs from the UK, often used by awful right-wing Conservatives to do the awful right-wing Conservative pastime in the UK of fox hunting, which is just ripping an innocent wild animal apart for fun using dogs and horses and trumpets and red jackets. And so they're called beagles because beagle is derived from some old French, like sort of, it's a bugle type. Bugle, yeah, that's where, it's all in the same area, because they have a loud howl that is like a bugle calling people to arms. Ours, barely ever. Our particular beagle is a good boy. He's not used for hunting, obviously. We don't do that. He's just used for walks and eating things and having snoozes and cuddles. Yeah, and as such, he has developed a life where, although he can do the woo thing, he doesn't do it very often. Very rare. Which is all absolutely nothing to do with the revelation of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer, which came to me while I was fulfilling my duty. As I said, St. Gafrik's vibe, I didn't say this, I was getting to it. St. Gafrik's vibe for people to play a game and enjoy that game on the day of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer. And had I been a regular Discordian and merely heard this sound that I should enjoy a video game on the day of the St. Gafrik the Enjoyer, I'm sure it would have been fine and I would have enjoyed it and I'd have said thank you St. Gafrik and I would have passed on my way. But as we know, I am a pastor. Do you know how I found out that the Pope died by Did you know I found out the Pope died by Team Fortress 2? Cool. Tell me about it in the chat while I finish my little thing that I'm going to blow everyone's minds with. Obviously, it is going to blow your mind. I promise. So instead, I thought, as the pastor, to show my, to do a bit of Discordian virtue signalling, I will stream the game that I play on St. Gafrik's Day. And so you could see that I've done it. And it's there. Someone in the chat said he died and we all started screaming in VC. That's a piece of terminology I have not come across. So you may explain what's in VC. Oh, voice chat. You all start screaming voice chat. Do you know what? Do you know who else screams all the time in voice chat? But not over the Pope dying. I'm pretty sure he didn't. My son, who is going to be 9 next month. He gets on with all his school buddies and they're always screaming. Always screaming. Nobody knows why. Well, no, he probably does and his friends probably do. But they could be playing anything. They do not just so that we could play TF2. Because I don't believe that's available on an Xbox. 9 years old. He will be 9 years old, yes, in May. But he's 8 years old at the moment. Actually, he's one of the few children I've ever echoed. I just turned 17. Well, gosh. So there we go. How just? Because I just turned 50. 20 days ago, 3 weeks ago, I turned 50. I mean, technically, I guess, given the numeric properties of years, 11 days ago. Ah, well. Welcome to the April birth month. Well, welcome to the, Discord birth season. So there we go. We were both children of Discord. Which makes sense being Discordians, but we could be children of chaos if we were born prior to the Ides of March, or we could be, as my son is, a child of confusion. That is amazing. And then if you're born after August the 7th, you're a child of bureaucracy. And then if you're born after some time in October, I can't remember exactly when, it's near the end of October, we did a seasons change service for it last year, you're a child of the aftermath. Imagine that. What a crazy Discordian zodiac. Start doing Discordian horoscopes. They're nonsense, but then everything is, so that's fine. Anyway, St. Gafrik the Enjoyer. I decided to stream the game that I wanted to play, and I sort of had my eye on Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Thought, that looks intriguing. Then it came out, and everyone went absolutely apeshit for it. They were like, this is the best game for ages. It's a contender for Game of the Year. It's so good, you have to play it. And I had originally been intending in my gaming stream to play Blueprints. The only reason I joined your stream for the first time is because you had Discord in your title. So you're talking about Discord and not this. Oh, my... Well, we've already done a bit about that, haven't we? About something about Discord, Discordianism and Discord and how it was nothing to do with the software. I mean, I'm sure that we can talk about Discord. The only thing is, I don't really know anything about Discord except that I'm really, really bad at it. Like, I've joined Discord servers, but I just can't pick it up. Like, I see people be like, hi, what are you doing this morning? Oh, I'm just going out to the shops right now and stuff. And I'm like, jeepers, I'm eating broccolis, LOL. Do you know what I mean? I just can't. And even though all the channels, I just can't vibe with people in Discord servers. I think it's maybe a generational thing. Maybe I'm too old for Discord. Seems about right. So there we go. But I streamed Expedition 3. You are too old for Discord. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely am. Although weirdly, people of my age know about. Although it's weird, actually. I think the potential for using Facebook properly exists in the Generation X cohort exclusively. But why won't you play TF2 with me? Because I don't play right. I am bonkers for Marvel stuff, right? I am absolutely, for a long time I was playing Marvel Snap, until I realised I could get the same distraction and buzz from playing Microsoft Solitaire, and I didn't have to do it with other people, you know. But I enjoyed collecting the cards, and I collected the cards, and now I'm like, well, that's it. I've collected the cards. You know, I essentially got my Doctor Strange card, and that was it. Doesn't matter what Doctor Strange actually does in the game. Just wanted my Doctor Strange card. And I got a couple of variants as well. It was great. But the thing about it is, right, I have never, and I keep looking, you don't play the Revelations of Gafrik, you played it yesterday. No, I played a video game in honour of St. Gafrik. That's different. St. Gafrik, he or she, instructed me to enjoy a video game yesterday, and so I attempted to do so. But the revelation comes when I realised a few things while I was streaming. But now you've got me onto the whole thing about team shooters, right? So I'm just going to say, I cannot bring myself to try Marvel Rivals because I don't want to be disappointed that I don't enjoy it, which I certainly will. I'm demanding you play TF2 with me. Well, okay, cool. You can demand it all you like. And it may come to pass. I'm not saying it won't. But unfortunately, in April, my calendar is quite full. But I played this new game that's supposed to be... And I was like, do you know what? This is going to be... Because it's the newest game, it's not as demanding as some games can be. But it is going to be the most demanding. Like if I played Blueprints, where you just walk through the manor and put rooms into the thing, I'm sure I could have streamed that. No hassles whatsoever. But Claire Obscure is trying to do stuff with the hardware. TF2 is pretty new. You should try that. Don't try this on me. I know all that I know about TF2 because of you. And I know that it's not... I mean, it's new in geological time, so you're not lying. You're lying in some way, but you're also telling the truth in another way. And its newness, novelty, its own right. Honestly, if any other game had come out with shiny graphics, in fact, another game did come out. That remaster of Oblivion came out, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about the Elder Scrolls. I don't like Bethesda games, so I didn't play that. No, I did not. I played this game because apart from anything else, it's in a fantasy world based on Belle Epoque France, and I've always thought that would be a great setting for like an adventure or open world game. I think they missed a trick with Assassin's Creed Unity, setting it in the Revolution and not in the Belle Epoque. Because I think the Belle Epoque is a very interesting melange of different societal things. No one wants to release a game because of GTA 6. But GTA 6 isn't out for a long time still yet. And the other thing about this Claire Obscure game is that it is only £40 new in the UK. I understand it's like $50 in the US and stuff. So it's very reasonably priced for what is a pretty chunky sort of JRPG inspired fantasy game, right? So I'm all down with it. I played it, but I discovered certain things. First of all, I discovered that I don't like playing... So there are games that I think that if you're a streamer... Well, obviously there are streamers that just play one game, so they do that. There are Marvel Snap streamers, for example. But if you're a variety streamer, I think you're a particular type of person who will play a variety of games on stream, and therefore any game is as good as any other game to a certain express. A long time this year, pal, and time flies now. Express plane to 2026. I'm not convinced that GTA 6 will come out this year, and if it does come out in 2026, then I could buy that, but I don't buy it's gonna. We're already nearly at May, and the amount of GTA 6 stuff that's happened is all on the side of people speculating about it, not on the side of people actually doing publicity from Rockstar and stuff. So I don't buy that it's just suddenly going to drop in 20. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure that it's ready. You know, it's like Magnum in Zoolander. Got to tame the beast before you let it out of its cage. You know, that's what we're doing. Anyway, yeah. So I discovered first that I don't really enjoy playing games in this stream. Have you seen my Facebook feed? Only GTA 6 stuff. All right, okay. I haven't seen your Facebook feed because, frankly, when we're not in the e-chapel, you only cross my mind as like, that's my congregation. And you've wormed your way into that position, which is good. You've done very good worming there. And now you've got a pink diamond to show your importance. Yeah. But that's it. I don't really think. And also, yeah, as you have revealed, you're at college and you do computer science stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this is it. This is the relationship. You're the congregation. I am the pontiff. And people can receive, if they come in and watch, they can get that vibe where, unlike a traditional religion where I'm just supposed to, you're not in college. Okay, so what do you win? What kind of educational institution? School? Do you call it school? At 17, if whatever you're in at 17, even if it's a school, it's really a college. I did sixth form. High school, yeah, I did that. I did comprehensive school. But my mental thesis is that if you are over 16 and you're in an educational institution, yeah, then, oh, I see, right, it's just a matter of terminology. Well, I can't do the squiggle. I can't pronounce the A in the first word as it's supposed to be because I have no idea. But Vidrigana skull? Something like that? I don't think I'm anywhere near that. I tried. I gave it an attempt. You're having a little laugh now there. But anyway, yeah, after 16, whatever you're doing is really college. And if they're trying to convince you, I mean, it's different. In this country, the A is anando. So, AO. Vidragon skull. Okay. AO. Like that. AO. Like that. Here we go. Pronunciation class is happening right now in the service. Yeah, so while I'm waiting for that, pretty close. Hey, Vidragon skull. Okay. Pretty close not. Okay, great. Thanks. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I was doing the stream and I discovered things. First of all, I really don't like playing. I'm not a PC gamer in the sense that I don't like sitting in a chair like this and having a controller and gaming on a PC, either a monitor or my gaming laptop screen. I don't like it. I just don't like it. It doesn't feel like I'm getting immersed in the game. And I think it's probably because my whole life I've had mostly consoles. There was a period at the beginning where I had a ZX Spectrum and a C64. And then, of course, I did sit at the keyboard and do that. But when I graduated on to getting a console, I've spent so many years sitting on easy chairs doing console gaming. That's where my brain feels comfortable gaming. So I regard gaming on a PC as being a chore. Yeah, the only time recently that I've sort of broken out of that. I played a bit of Vampire Survivors on my PC because I was here at lunchtime. One time I didn't fancy going downstairs. I was playing Vampire Survivors. That worked out, but I think that's because Vampire Survivors is just basically mind crack for people with ADHD. So I think that's what that was. So, and the other thing is as well, because Clair Obscur is like a story-led game that has like cutscenes and all fancy stuff going on. I'm like, what? Vampire Survivors? Am I a vampire? No, but I am a player of Vampire Survivors. Possibly the best game for ADHD enjoyers that's come out in absolutely ages. It's like ADHD mind crack on a screen. It's just amazing. It's so good for those people. ADHD enjoyers, that is. So yeah, this game, yes, the Vampire Survivors game, yeah. So Clair Obscur, on the other hand, is a JRPG style with a story game. Now I could get into that playing on a on a sofa and me playing the game. And that is the thing. I think that many people who watch Twitch streamers do gaming and stuff, they think, oh wow, it's an easy life. You're playing a game and you're just on Twitch. I had a Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors costs in the UK 4 of your English pounds for the full game. It is the most pointless game in the universe to pirate. Seriously, it's like the price of a coffee for the full game with all the free content loaded into it. Don't have any money, bro. Wow. If you don't have any money for a single coffee, then it is still the most pointless game to pirate in the entire world. You spend all on TF2 hats. There we go. So, you know, skip a hat, buy Vampire Survivors. I don't know. I mean, it depends if you've got ADHD. If you've got it, you definitely buy it because it's like a mind pacifier. For the half hour that you're vampire surviving, all your troubles just go away and you're just like, yeah. But then, you know, and that's what's interesting because I think the developers were aware of the effect it would have on ADHD enjoyers. And they said, well, we'll limit a session to half an hour. Or 31 minutes max if you're, you know, some kind of superhuman or whatever. Because what happens at 30 minutes? It's very difficult to get past that for another 60 seconds. Yeah? And I think that's... I booted up Vampire Suspect in casual time. Next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. I'm surrounded by 10,000 skeletons. My screen is a fireworks display of garlic burnt Bible circles. My GPU is screaming in Latin. Do I understand what's happening? No. I'm having the time of my life. Absolutely. Did I just evolve a pigeon into a nuclear dove of death? You bet I did. This game turns you from please don't hurt me to I am the bullet hell in 20 minutes flat. You can actually get quite bullet helly. I've done it in about 13 minutes and it's already ramping up like to the... But yeah, to get the best stuff, that is around the 20-minute mark. And then you've got 10 minutes of sheer joy and then the Grim Reaper comes and absolutely minces you. So yeah, and I think that's specifically because they realised if there was limitless, if it just went on forever, ADHD people could literally starve to death because they wouldn't leave the game. Like literally every time I play it, I think I'll just do the first 10 minutes and then like 25 minutes later I'm like, oh, it's only 5 minutes till the end, I may as well carry on. Is just insane. So good. Yeah, I could have played that on my thing as well, and that probably maybe would have worked out. But I really wanted to try Clair Obscur, and I'm not going to play any other games today, and who knows when I'll get a chance to play it again. So Factorio, that's the one. I have seen that. I might see if I can track it down, you know, for cheap or whatever, and have a go. Yeah, good suggestion. But yeah, what I discovered was that it's interesting because what I realised, and here we come to the revelation of St. Gafrik, is that enjoyment can actually be split into a number of different layers. It's never on sale, £40 for it. I'll take that into consideration. And I just took into account the fact that, right, so I have come to enjoy, whether you've been able to make it or not, TF2 Real Gamer 2022. Whether you have been able to make it or not, I do enjoy the Friday service. I enjoy Twitch streaming the Friday service, and then I enjoy putting it on YouTube for people to enjoy asynchronously. I enjoy that. Yeah. Last time it was on sale was 8 years ago. This is Steam, right? Because Steam has all that stuff on it. Wow, that's impressive. So yeah, I enjoy that. But then if you put a video game into the mix, unless it's particular games, I do not enjoy that. Although, if I stream via a console, yeah, knew it would be Steam, I can enjoy it more. But here's a reason. But there is a demo. Cool, I'll play the demo. I did find that I really enjoy, and my wife quite enjoyed it. If it was the right game for my wife to enjoy and heckle me with it, I did enjoy that banter experience of Twitch streaming where she's hurling abuse at me. Very similar indeed to this pontiff congregation experience, but far more caustic, because I'm just trying to play a video game and she's always telling me I'm rubbish at whatever video game it is, whether I'm rubbish at it or not. But the only problem with that is, and she's quite happy not to appear on screen. So there's a camera shot of me and I'm playing the game, but then she's off screen heckling me, but without a microphone she can't be heard. And I'm thinking, but people at home are getting half an experience here because they can't hear that. And she's quite funny, my wife, when she's heckling me. And I was like, if only there was some way to sensibly set this up so that we could just do this. And do you know what? To date, there is no sensible way to do that. I'd have to set up bloody laptops and sound cards and pass-throughs, and it would be a technological nightmare. So it's not happening for the time being. But one day I'll be back doing games with my wife heckling me, and it'll be brilliant. It will be beautiful. That is amazing. But me doing it on the computer, even if she's moderating the stream, it just doesn't work. So I don't enjoy that. But if you take a video game and I enjoy it by myself, just playing it on the sofa, then I enjoy playing it on the sofa. And that's weird. Wait. I am waiting. I'm sort of waiting. So what the revelation of St. Gafrik the Enjoyer is that just because you enjoy thing A or thing B, or the things that make you enjoy something can be quite wild. And you can't always just mash it's not like peanut butter and chocolate. Yeah, you can't just mash together two things you enjoy and still enjoy the resulting confection. Not all the time. Sometimes you can. But that is interesting. An individual's enjoyment and the threshold of enjoyment and what is enjoyed. Like the thing is that the whole game streaming thing, generally the stream ruins the game and the game ruins the stream for me. That's what happens. They just get in each other's way. So that's why I stream not games. Why the hell am I doing this without a full... I've been in game mode for like hours and nobody's pointed it out to me. I don't think anyone cares. Who wants to see this all the time? Hey, who wants to see it? We'll move on. It's now official open season. Kandar, I am waiting. Anyone who's got a question, now is the time to ask it, and it can be any question. I will provide an answer. It might not be right. It might not be relevant. It might not, tickle your fancy. Okay, go. Oh, you mean you had to nip off for a minute and now you're back? You have a question. Good for you. Although it is a burden on others, and the answer is a prison. If I deliver an answer, it is a prison for myself. But you carry on. Don't worry about that. When are we going to play TF2? Right, okay. So, in all honesty, next week we have. Next week I have a clear week, but it's the first clear week that I've had in a long time, like since the beginning of April, since just before I turned 50. Since I have turned 50 years of old, the whole year of being 50, I have not had much of a clear time. I've had lots of things to do. So next week I get a clear week, and then on Friday, obviously, we'll have the first service in April 2 of 2. But then it's the bank holiday weekend. Okay, so I'm going to reserve that, put a finger pause on it, maybe, because I think, touch wood, the bank holiday weekend, it's bank holiday in the UK, so we get Monday off, the first Monday in May. I have to explain that now for people who are not. You get used in your own country. People get used to just say, "Oh, it's bank holiday." Do what you want to do that week. Exactly. So when I get to the bank holiday weekend, I think it's fairly clear. So I'm going to think really hard about this Team Fortress 2 proposition during that time. We'll see. I'm going to call that a we'll see. Following that, I have to attend a wedding the week after that. Then the week after the week of the wedding, I have to attend my son's birthday when he turns 9. And then I've got a week after that. And then there is a relatively clear week just in the beginning of June. But then I've got a work event, our wedding. It is not our wedding. I'm afraid I am not available for a wedding due to the fact that I am already married. Due to the fact that you should know that, because I've already said my wife several times. It's not a Borat thing. I really am married. And she is really hilarious when we play video games together on the sofa. And if there was some way I could stream her caustic vocals out. Oh, exams come up, so I can't really play. There we are. So the answer to your question is possibly, because then this is the real kicker. Once all of that, my work event, my son's birthday, the wedding I have to, I am in the midst of moving house. So now I'm going to move. Once I'm in the other house, things should settle down a bit. Possibly. Again, touch wood. So, yeah. So the answer across probably sometime in the autumn. Maybe sooner. I'll see what I can do. I'll put it on my to-do list. We'll see when it gets to the top and I actually do it. But I must warn you before any of that happens. I don't like team shooters. I just don't like team shooters. I just don't like them. So it's in a genre that I'm never ever gonna be like, yeah, let's do this. So that's the caveat. So it'll probably be a one-off for me. I think that concludes Canada. I've committed to enough. That is, I've hardly committed to anything. You can play a community server, like tower defense. Then that does intrigue me. All right, I will look into that. I do kind of like tower defense. Sometimes it works for me, and other times it just doesn't. Like Plants vs Zombies, the original Plants vs Zombies, I quite like that. It isn't terribly engaging. I do like the balloons one. That is fun. I think one of the things about tower defense, I have to fight the robots. Okay, cool. One of the things about tower defense is that it sometimes just doesn't. You get a piss tower. Moving on. It's time for Reflective Tarot. As usual, I have shuffled 5 times and cut the pack to bring the card. Now, what's really interesting, because I remember last proper service, which was last Friday, the card that was drawn, despite the fact that the deck had been shuffled, like split and shuffled 5 times, and I split to a random card, it was the 6 of Pentacles. Twice in a row. I mean, there was a gap in between where I could only do 5-minute morning services. But that's this one of those things. It's where the vibe is humming. It was telling me something, which I think I kind of get the message generally. But for me personally, I know how it resonated with me. But very interesting, 6 of Pentacles. So this probably isn't the 6 of Pentacles, but it is. Oh my God, we're all going to go wild. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is. We're all going to find out at the same time. This week's Reflective Tarot card is not the 6 of Pentacles. The Hermit. The Hermit. I mean, I'm not... How many cards? 78. 78 cards in our tarot deck. Because they had a bit of extra ink and card left over in that one, you do get 2 bonus cards, the happy squirrel and the sad squirrel, but I just used the standard cards. I don't include squirrel. Maybe I should. No, I don't know. I don't think so. It's not traditional. I'm sticking with trad. That's the vibe. So yeah, twice in a row with all the shuffles. Chance of getting the same card twice in a row, 6,084 to 1. Yeah. So it was really after shuffling. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? This is what I always say. I don't know if it works. I don't know why. I'm just the janitor. But it is a vibe and the creation of a vibe, and you're using the vibe. So if that's the vibe, then you could say on a cosmic level it's inevitable that you'll continue to get the same vibe. The Hermit is great. It's one of the bigger... If it works, don't touch it. Exactly. If it works, just let it work. Yeah, a lot of people... I've had a lot of conversations recently about this idea that a lot of people on the internet who like to go and, shitpost in various places, they like... magic. Like there are a lot of magic groups about, But magic, by definition, and as I've learned everywhere around the place, is the practice of trying to exert your will through some metaphysical means so that something you want to happen takes place. Yeah? Did you see that 4chan got hacked? So many people have been saying 4chan is now basically over. I mean, I care very little, but it would be intriguing. If that's it, if someone's killed 4chan. Imagine. So yes, I did see that. And I'm waiting for the inevitable video essay autopsy coming out where someone's done way too much research that I can't be bothered to do, and they'll just walk me through the whole thing and it'll blow my mind. The world just keeps getting weirder. You killed 4chan. Good for you. Good for you. Or bad for you. I'm not sure. You know, 4chan was definitely a sewer, but, you know, if you go around just... If I decide things are a sewer, this is what I don't want, you see. I don't want to exert my will, really, that much. My will is fine. I have what I need. So mysticism, which is not magic, is doing stuff and seeing what happens. So I do this and I see what happens, and I do the service, I do the months, and I do the rituals of the saints, and I do all of these things. Just want to see what's going to happen, which I feel is a Discordian method of doing things, because you can't really, because controlling things, exerting your will, is not chaos, but just doing stuff and seeing what pops back. That's, to me, the heart of the matter. So we have the Hermit. And yes, it's a loud card. That is the suit pip cards, what I call sneaky cards. They have kind of subtle influences. But this is a major arcana or loud card. It's basically the equivalent of someone grabbing you by the scruff of the neck and screaming the vibe into your face. And old Hermit here is very easy to interpret. It's about solitude, self-reflection, turning inwards. And I guess the revelation of St. Gafrik is very much that kind of, I did something by myself as part of a ritual, and it's all unearth things about me. You get to know yourself. And in fact, I've been thinking about a lot of ways in which people come to get to know themselves recently, and that it's mad. Like when I was a kid, like my son, or indeed like you, I never really, I mean, as I've got to be older, I'm like, there's all this stuff that somebody should tell you about, or stuff that they should say, hey, you know, it's really weird. You get born, and somewhere along the line, how do you know all this? It's spot on. I don't know. Well, I just reflect. I just spent too much time thinking about this stuff. So as you know, there's also, you're born and you presume that you'll just pick it up as you go along. And in fact, the entire human race acts like that's a thing. Like you, and that's why, you know, you often hear, oh, I felt like a freak because I was finding life really difficult. And it's like, the big secret of humanity is nobody knows. You don't know how to operate yourself. How the hell are you supposed to, like... You know, that's the point. The whole Dunning-Kruger thing where stupid people think they're smart and smart people think they're stupid, right? Stupid people never have that moment where they realize, I really don't know how I work. I don't know really what I like. I don't know really what any of this stuff is. And I don't know how to communicate. And I don't know how any of this stuff. I don't know. And people are always like, I feel like I should. It's like, who told you that? And it's not anyone tells you. Nobody tells you. Apart from people who are saying, did you see the 17-year-old made a laptop from scratch? He made his own operating system. I did not see it, but you have told me about it, and now I know about it, and I can believe it, and I think that's cool. Yeah, any kind of self-expression like that is cool. If you're 17 years old and you make a laptop from scratch and put your own operating system on it, yeah, then you have got in touch with a part of yourself. And that's the point. You do all these things and you only get in touch with a part of yourself. You don't get in touch with... when I saw that, I started giving up. But that's not the point. The point is, You can't be the 17-year-old who made a laptop from scratch and made their own operating system. That person already exists and they're another person. You can't even boot into Linux. But that's the point. If it's not you, then there's something else. And the point about that is, it took me over 40 years to even start scratching the surface of understanding things that I didn't know about myself. I feel a lot more chilled now because I have got in touch with some of it. But the point is, it's like getting in touch with a part of yourself. I mean, anyone who gets in touch with a part of themselves should be like, oh God, I feel like such a fucking loser. I didn't even get in touch with all of myself, just one part. But that's everybody. It's literally everybody. My wife is autistic. And one of the things that happens is you ask her what she wants for tea, and she cannot fucking tell you. Because I believe deeply that part of that kind of operational autism where you're not locked in, but you're able to, is that you understand that your own brain doesn't know what you want for tea. Yeah? Whereas the more neurotypical you are, the more you will go, I don't know, pie and chips. Yeah, something like that. Because your own brain actually has these sort of self-fooling mechanisms to say, you don't know the answer to this, but really you're going to feel dumb if you understand that you don't know the answer to this. So I'm going to rationalise that you want something. And then some people can even do this, where they just go, I'll have pie and chips. And you make them pie and chips, and they go, do you know what? Now I look at it, I don't really want this. Yeah, because your own brain is playing games with you that you're not really in touch with that part. Whereas I think in neurodiverse, when it gets to the autism part of that spectrum, not so much the ADHD part, you are aware of things that you just don't know about yourself, including what you want for tea. And that's, yeah, I mean, so that's and the Hermit is all about all that stuff of knowing yourself, not knowing yourself, doing stuff because you know that you are the kind of, there's a whole thing. We're watching Red Dwarf again recently. What does she want for tea? What she wanted for tea today was garlic and herb potatoes and steak. And I'll tell you how I know that is because that's what she made and served to me. So I know today. What she wants for tomorrow, she probably doesn't even know that. And if you ask her, she say, don't be annoying. I cannot answer that question. And not only that, it will lock my brain up if I think about something like that now, because I cannot. But that's so really the Hermit, I suppose, is a vibe that says, understand that you have to get to know yourself. And when you get to know enough of yourself, then you will be able to vibe with other people. And, there is that big philosophical thing. How much do you really know another person? And, there are ways that you can incorporate that into your world map. Like, how do I deal with the fact that I don't really, I'm not, like, I've been married to my wife for nearly 20 years. Well, I've been with my wife for nearly 20 years. I've been married to her for 17 years this year. 16 years this year. Yeah, 16 years this year. And I know her pretty well. But the point is, she's also subject to the limitation that she doesn't entirely know herself. So I'm not going to know those parts because she doesn't even know them. And she's her. And it's like, it's amazing how little you have to know someone to know them pretty well. Yeah? But what's really interesting about that is, that means that anyone that you haven't been living with for like 16 years, you really don't know them at all. And if you're a child of parents and you're 17 or 8 or 9, even though you've lived with your parents their whole life, there are bits of them that parents don't know. There are bits of me I don't know, and I've got a son, so he doesn't know those parts of me because I don't know them. Right? So you always have a disadvantage if you're a child because he doesn't really remember anything from before he was like 6 maybe, and even vaguely then. There was times when I picked him up from school when he was very young where he couldn't remember what he had for lunch. The memory filter is too strong in a young child to really kind of form memories. He's starting to get there now. 8, 9, he's starting to remember like a continuity of life. Only at 8 or 9. He's been living with me there for 9 years. And so your parents always get like a 9-year head start because you do express your personality during that 9 years. It's just you can't remember what you did. So it's a really unfair relationship, parents and children. Parents get to know a big opportunity to know loads about someone while they don't even remember anything about themselves. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, and that's the hermit vibe. Think about the levels to which you know yourself. Who's the person that you know best that's not yourself? Realise how little you know about that person. I don't remember anything when I was 9, I think. I myself, right, but ADHD think, and he might be the same here, you do tend to cast off childhood memories. You do tend to. Generally, you have a general idea. And then actually what's really interesting about it is that later in life, when you're 40, then your childhood was 40 years ago. So you'll find that the culture talks about 40 years ago and the things that happen, and you hook on to like news events from way in the past, and maybe you get, if you're lucky, you get to see like photographs of yourself doing stuff and being in certain places, and you suddenly like tap back into memories that you didn't even know you had about things that happened way in the past. There was a period in my late 20s to early 30s where I could not remember a single thing that happened to me before I was like 18. I knew I was there, and there were odd things, there were people that I remembered I knew, but actual incidents, things that happened in the years of those, nothing. And then as I've got older, certain things have queued off. I've got, oh, that happened when I was this old and blah, blah, blah. And I've started to be able to piece some of it back together. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I'm sure that there are hypnotists and stuff who said, oh, I'll help you remember all of that. But who knows? Okay, so that was the Hermit. It's been a good one. It's been a good one. So it's time. If you have the money to buy something ingestible, or if you have the resources to have something ingestible nearby, it is time for the sacrament. And so, at the close of play, as enjoined by the goddess herself, who said that on a Friday we should partake joyously of a hot dog, we are going to transubstantiate our ingestible into a hot dog and take that moment to commune with the goddess vibe, on which I have had some recent thoughts about, because obviously one of the descriptions of Discordianism is that we worship Eris, the goddess of chaos, and I think that makes a lot of Discordians kind of uncomfortable, because worship is not really worship in a sort of, well, the fact is that worship is one of these weasel words. Nobody knows what it means to worship something. If you think about the casual way it drops into phrases like, I worshipped the ground she walked on, or whatever. Yeah? It's like, you say, okay, what's worship? What happens? How does one to worship? I worshipped, I am worshipping. What is if I say I kicked, I am kicking, that's very visceral. We know what a kick looks like, but what does a flipping worship look like? Worship means you look up to something, but that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous definition of it, because it's not supposed to up to something or someone. And that's the point. If all it is like, oh, I really admire you, do you know what I mean? Then people are worshipping bloody celebrities every day. The point is that the religious and the spiritual preserve the domain of worship for something that is not just, oh, I really admire you, God. You made the universe. I admire you. I admire you, Jesus, for wearing sandals and having a beard. I worship. That's admiration. That's not worship. Worship is a very complicated concept, I suddenly realised as it broke into my mind. When people have said, when you talk in a religious setting, there are things called acts of worship, of which this is one. Okay? But this is like a, well, boo-hoo. Next week's deep thought, because we've done it all tonight. We've got it all. Gafrik, Linux distros, TF2, Hermit. We've done the lot. We're full up. There is no more room for any more service tonight. But next week, you better believe that the deep thought is going to be, how does a Discordian worship, and what the hell does that mean anyway? Which is weird, because I don't usually know what the deep thought is until about Tuesday. But this week, I don't know. We've got to talk about grub. Okay. Well, I'm going to do the thing now. I could not find a hot dog, not even with a bun. So I take this random ingestible, because devotion comes with fun. Hail Eris indeed. That is one of the big advantages of the I could not find a hot dog mantra, is that whatever you ingest, it can be fun for you. I have to go right now. I have gum, right? A pink gum. There we go. Whatever you randomly ingest, because the end of the mantra is because devotion comes with fun, you can eat something fun. Skull. Skull indeed. I like it. That's what we're talking about right there. And it's interesting because in some Discordian lore, it is sort of, we stick apart, like Discordians do Discordian on their own. But then in other parts, it's extended, we stick apart together. So I've always taken that line. And the idea of taking a sacrament and saying skull, in some religions they'll be like, I'm not sure that's appropriate, but in this one you have hit exactly the right vibe. We ingest something that's fun, we say skull, we're on. More SWDP Katma. It's excellent. Yeah. That's your lot. The SWDP Discordian service for Friday the 25th of April. Oh my gosh. I know what it means. I've played AC Valhalla. They do it all the time in AC. Skull! Yeah, it's great. I know. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. The concept that, like, if you imagine in another religion that shall remain nameless, but they just lost someone quite dear to them, yeah? If you imagine that they ate a little wafer and drank the little sour wine and then went, skull! Everybody be like, what? That's not, it's the blood and body of, it's not. But here, where it's supposed to be a hot dog, I guess, I mean, you know, it's absolutely great. It's the right energy, is what I'm saying. It's the right energy. It's exactly because the sacrament, I think, is supposed to put you in touch with the vibe, and so is saying cheers, skull. What's the one? L'chaim, if you're that way inclined, or whatever it is. Yeah. It's weird. It's a ritual. It's a non-denominational, non-religious invocation of something. In sort of some Mediterranean cultures, and indeed African cultures, they have energies that are supposed to be spiritual, but they're like of drums, or just of, you know, heat, or they're very abstract. They're not personifications. They're just rhythms, vibes. But they're in Spain. They have a thing called the duende, which makes you dance, yeah? And it's weird because they're not religious, but they are, you know, even occult, you might even say, metaphysical. And we don't have that. As soon as you go norther, and they just don't have those concepts of having like a spirit that's like you have Rus. Okay, it's just British people. It's just British people, but probably French people as well. We don't have, we don't. Actually, it's weird because I'm in Wales, and it's not really a spirit, but there's a concept of a thing called hiraeth, which is sort of a longing for a home that you never really had, but it binds us all together. I don't know anything. No, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I know that. I know I don't know anything. But now I do because you just told me. Wonderful. Knowledge and everything. I think that's enough chaotic knowledge for one night. I have to say, I've got to say. But it's been a pleasure, a real pleasure to hang out with the congregation and to do a Discordian service. And I've noticed that we've been pushing this vibe for nearly 3 seasons now. 3 Discordian seasons. And it's starting to pop. There's something coming. And that's it. We don't know what because we're mystics. We just want to know what happens when we go further. But it's been absolutely insane. Brilliant. Lovely. It's chilled, but at the same time, it's energizing. So yeah, and that's what I'm going to leave you with tonight. Hail Eris. All hail Discordia.